Good afternoon, I'm Malcolm Jordan and this is your midday news fix for Wednesday the 25th of March. The government's signalling cost cuts in other areas to help fund targeted relief for families struggling with rising fuel prices. Lower income families will get a $50 weekly increase to the in-work tax credit, taking roughly $370 million out of government coffers. Minister Mark Mitchell says the policy is funded from the budget operating allowance.
As a government, as ministers, we just have to find more cuts, find a way to be able to pay for that. We will do that in a responsible way.
Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump says Iran has begun talks towards a peace deal and the war in the Middle East is effectively over. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says never before in history has a modern military like Iran's been obliterated so quickly.
And that's why we see ourselves as part of this negotiation as well. We negotiate with bombs.
Claims that New Zealand's charter schools could be the most expensive public education in the world. Charter school agency data shows as of December, $37.4 million has been poured into the privately operated and publicly funded schools. Jamie Cunningham has more.
That figure's just under an average $88,000 a student across the 427 enrolled. NZEI President Rebecca Lessell says Luxembourg, the world's highest education spender, averages about half that, so New Zealand is a global outlier. She says every dollar spent on charter schools is one taken from state school students.
One person's been injured and a wastewater pump in Eastern Nelson has suffered extensive damage after a car crashed into the pump building last night. Mayor Nick Smith says the council is working to minimise any wastewater discharge, but the pump house is so badly damaged it will need to be demolished and rebuilt at significant cost. Pike River families are making an emotional plea against changing health and safety laws. Anna Osborne, who lost her husband Milton in the mine explosion, says one of the few positives from the tragedy was workers' protections being strengthened in 2019. Sonia Rockhouse lost one son and one survived, and both women have addressed Parliament's Select Committee. Rockhouse says revisiting the law is like the minister kicking the men's memorial stones.
It feels like the authors of this bill have failed to learn from history. They have willfully ignored it, and it makes me sick and angry.
The government's taking aim at pests as it eyes up making the capital a predator-free city. Conservation Minister Tama Potaka says $5.5 million will go into targeting pests over more than 18,000 hectares across Wellington over 5 years. Potaka hopes it'll help native wildlife and boost visitor numbers.
Tourists are really interested in elevated levels of native birds. Like, people aren't coming to the country to see feral cats or possums, mate. They're coming to the country to enjoy our iconic scenery, but also get a taste of nature at its finest.
To sport, Egyptian footballer Mohamed Salah is to leave Liverpool at the end of the season after a 9-year tenure. Norwegian counterpart Erling Haaland has bought the most expensive book in his country's history, a 1594 edition of King's Sagas for $228,000. Indian Premier League cricket franchise Royal Challengers Bengaluru has sold for $3.07 billion. And rugby coach Robbie Deans will join Harlequins in the English Premiership as their performance director. I'm Malcolm Jordan. That's your latest news fix. We'll be back with the next update at 5 p.m. from the Newstalk ZB newsroom.